worried how the government shutdown is going to affect his food stamps. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on your mandate. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling friends about you. Fitzdog, Greg Fitzsimmons, back in studio. The comedian's comedian, which means he's not your comedian. He's our comedian, and he's doing shows. He's got the Comedy Store benefit coming up. Oh, Andrew Santino's on that. Craig Robinson, what's he doing at the Comedy Store? Special guests to be announced. He's playing the Den Theater in Chicago. Appleton, Wisconsin. That's a cool place. Fitzdog. Appleton, Wisconsin. I do believe there's outdoor piano players in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Don't the fingers get a little chilly in the winter?
You would think. Yeah. That's what the cider's for.
It's a different, I mean, you're weak. You're a California guy. I can't imagine you do well in cold weather. I mean, you can handle it for a weekend, but you've never lived anywhere cold, have you?
I lived in Menominee, Wisconsin.
No, you
Speaking
didn't.
of Appleton. You got to figure out, Dawson, where Menominee.
Menominee. Wasn't that a Muppet song?
Menomina. Do, 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 do. Menomina. Do, 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 do. I don't think that was the Muppets. That was pre-Muppet.
Oh, was it Sesame Street?
It would have been Sesame Street or something. There's also just...
I think it was Sesame Street.
We also had a time in this country when we were really high, but not on energy drinks.
Yes.
So we had time for like weird songs like, you took the lime and the coconut, you pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, that's almost a hit.
Right.
I got a brand new... Yeah, that was a little doo-woppy, but there was like, you got a brand new pair of roller skates, and I got a brand new key.
Right.
Which now that I'm thinking about it, it's just about fucking. When I was 8, I thought it was about roller skating, but now it's like, I got a key, you got a roller skate. Why don't you come over and visit me?
Right.
So I can skate.
Yeah.
Like,
skate away.
I didn't know all the fucking songs. I didn't even know Afternoon Delight was about. I thought it was about lighting off bottle rockets like at noon.
Right.
Sky rockets. You just listen to that song and it's like rubbing sticks and stones together, making sparks ignite, and the sound of loving you is good. It's all about daytime tent fucking.
Right, right. And then the Who had that one.
Squeeze Box.
Squeeze Box.
Yeah. But again, everything was face value.
Yeah. Well, AC/DC, every song they did.
Yeah. And, oh, God, I was just listening to another one. Yeah, and anything about brown sugar or something. I thought they were making muffins or something.
No, Mick Jagger has asked that they no longer play that song on the radio.
Oh, he has asked?
Yes.
Well, here's my thing about the whole racial thing. If you are doing, like, let's say, blackface in a minstrel show sort of way, then so be it. But as I tell everyone, when I was 19, I went as Mr. T for Halloween because I loved Mr. T.
Sure.
So then that's a tip of the mohawk to Mr. T.
That's right.
Because how else can you pay homage to someone other than going as them for Halloween? You know what I mean? Then there's the weird ones, like I'm going as John Benet Ramsey's corpse or something, and then that's a weird one. But this is me going as Mr. T because I love Mr. T.
Because you love Mr. T.
Right.
Well,
so you know, you're brown sugar. How come you dance so good? All right, that's good. But it just like a young girl should.
No.
It's like a black girl should.
It's
like a black girl should.
It's about a slave master having sex with a young slave.
Oh, Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in a market down in New Orleans. I see. My whole life I was just about hot black chick dancing. I didn't know it was
Scarred old slaver knows he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around midnight. Brown sugar, how come you taste so good?
Oh, well, at least he's performing on her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you something. If I was having sex with a slave, me performing oral on her would be out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I heard that's a thing for some guys. It's called batting cleanup or something. They come in at the end of a night in like a massage parlor, and they're the ones that perform the oral. That's their fetish.
It is. All right. Then this is interesting. So when guys approach sex, and women to some degree, but I'd say mostly for guys, there's like two sides of it. There's what are you visually into? How can you orgasm? And what feels good? And then there's a whole psychodynamic side of it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I like watching these German films of women stepping on cockroaches in high heels. And then you go, where'd that come from? And you go, well, when I was 2, I remember crawling around the floor in the kitchen. I would look at my mom's feet and I became aroused. You know, it's like, okay, that's weirdo luggage from the past stuff. And so, guys, I am blessed in that I'm just in the whatever feels good department. I'm not in the part where I have to, like when I did Loveline, there was a place by the LAX where guys pretended to be ponies and pull the mistress around with a horse and a cart, and they put a bit in their mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm paying, I want blowjobs and a martini. I don't want to be anyone's beast of burden. Wait a minute, there's a Stone song.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in pulling a fat dyke around in a cart.
No, Real Sex was that show on HBO.
Oh,
Remember that?
the worst.
Every week they had a different fetish. But the crazy thing is, it was actual people. Like, they would come on as if their coworkers did not have a subscription to HBO. And this one guy, he's a horse, and his wife's in a leather bustier. He's got a saddle. She's on his back, and he's riding her around the living room, and she's got a carrot in her hand. And I'm thinking, oh, she's going to feed the horse the carrot.
Oh, no.
Adam.
Oh, no.
Right up the ass. He goes up on his hind legs. Everybody comes. I'm like, good for them. They figure that out. Cut to the guy walking into his office on Monday morning. There's a bushel of carrots on his desk.
I would talk about it in greater detail, but I have a class action lawsuit against Real Sex because back before there was porn everywhere, I'd see Real Sex on HBO and I'd go, oh, what do we got cooking here? Some kind of topless Miss USA competition out of Florida. It was always, we go to Stuttgart, Germany, where fat chicks have a leather obsession and the guy's getting the carrot up. And I'm like, non-jackable. This is non-jackable.
Right.
No good. No good for anything. There's nothing sexual or arousing about that show. But yeah, I saw the guy. I interviewed a mistress who worked for this place by LAX where guys pulled chicks around in carts. But here's my whole point. A lot of guys are into stuff that is more psychological than it is physical.
Yeah.
And again, like I guess there's two parts of being a dude. There's like, you could go, I want to eat monkey brains because it's outlawed and no one else can do it. And I'd go, well, if monkey brains taste better than a filet mignon, then I'll do it. But I don't think they do.
Right.
No, we're doing it because it's a whole underground thing. And I'm like, I'll take the steak.
Yeah.
Because I'm not interested in the challenge part of this whole thing. And I remember Ron Lester. God bless Ron Lester. You know who Ron Lester is?
Porn star? Porn star?
No, that's Ron Jeremy.
Right.
And then there's another name, Leslie. There's a Leslie and a Ron, but there's not a Ron Lester.
Okay.
Is it Ron Leslie? What's Ron Leslie? Okay, here's the point. He was the fat guy in Varsity Blues, the actor.
Okay.
Who got thin. But you'll remember him as the super huge guy who was in that movie Varsity Blues. And then he got thin and then he died. But he came into Loveline once and, he was like, 450 pounds. And he explained that he liked to get with prostitutes. But then once he got with the prostitutes, he only went down on them.
Yeah.
And then I said, that'd be like renting a car, having it detailed, and returning it. You get nothing out of it. It just costs you.
And you just put premium gas in it.
You put premium, you top it off with premium, you put a coat of carnauba, and you bring it right back to Avis. I'm like, I don't get what's in it for you. But that's what he did. And now I'm honoring his memory by telling the story into a microphone. But the guys that are into that stuff, do we not trust them? Do we think it smacks of something deeper? Do we live and let live? Or are we one of them, Greg?
I think we're one of them, and I applaud their ability to peel back the onion.
You're saying you're one of them.
Well, look, if Czechoslovakian hidden camera massage porn is something that freaks you out, well, then let me leave the room right now because I'm a fan.
I get the quirk stuff, like the stuff where, secret hidden camera, you're coming in for an audition and it sort of turns into something. Little theater of the mind, but that's not the same as the cleanup hitter showing up after a long day at the brothel, right?
What about the feet?
The feet, I don't understand the feet, but in a way, the feet is like the guy who's bi. It's like, well, you've just opened up the world to your sexuality because I like some titties, but I can't go to the beach and stare at naked titties, but you can look at feet all you want.
Right.
Because they're all over the beach.
Oh, no, the spring starts and all of a sudden you hear flip, flop, and your head whips around.
Right.
Whips around and down.
That's right. Round and down, because they got the Zories, as we used to call them, the flip-flops.
I don't have a foot fetish, but I definitely, as any part of the female body, I can appreciate a nice pair of feet. And what I'm noticing now is that they're growing the toenails long and then painting the tips and sticking, little things on them.
They're bedazzled.
They're bedazzling long toenails. Not into it.
There's a lot of adorning going on.
Yeah.
I don't even look at. My thing is the feet are just there to hold the tits up. They're there so the tits don't fall over. You know what I mean? I want to see those tits hit the ground. 5-second rule, by the way. But I don't really care.
Right.
I want to tell all women who do the bedazzling and the bejeweling and the crazy extra piercings up and down the ears and the nose studs and the nails that have been airbrushed with a unicorn on it. That is not for any male. No, we don't care. Right. We're not interested.
I've noticed this. Overweight women, inversely proportional, have very bedazzled nails, hair tips, tattoos, a lot of adornment.
Yes. There's a lot of jiggling keys over here not to notice the extra rolls on the gun.
And they do jiggle key. They actually
will hold keys and jiggle. Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm trying to think. I guess there's a dude sort of truck car version of that, where the shorter and uglier you are, the more the rims you put on your cars or something like that. But yes, women, it's a thing where when you have a big plus-size woman, they go, I must do eyelashes where I look like a zebra's eyelashes. I need to do the nails that are acrylic and 4 inches long. I need everything. And I'm like, I want to pull them aside at the mall and go, there's really only one thing we want, but you got to drop 40 pounds. Like, that's the thing we're looking for. Not the nails, not the hair, not the jewelry, not any of it. As a matter of fact, I don't really know. There are a couple guys that are into tattoos, but are they into tattoos like they're into tongue piercings, and that just means open for business? It means
it's a giant green light.
Yes.
It's saying I'm into taking risks. I'm a little bit edgy.
Right.
It's I don't think there's an aesthetic appreciation for the artwork.
Right. It's the opposite of when you see a turtleneck and a crucifix outside of the turtleneck, they're down for business. There's nothing.
Right.
Don't knock on that door. There'll be no sale.
And I will say the opposite. I was in Las Vegas this past weekend. Sadly, this last week, 7 fucking nights.
Doing shows?
Doing shows. Brad Garrett's was a great room. It's a really fun room at the MGM, and he's one of the great guys of all time.
I like him.
Yeah, he's terrific. But what I noticed was, inverse to the tattoo is the gaggle of women. I think they're called a gaggle when there's more than 3, walking through the casino. Could be a Tuesday night. In Vegas, a Tuesday night's a Saturday night. And if you see them and it's after midnight and a girl has her shoes in her hand, she's on the field, but she's not in the game. It's like seeing someone on a paintball field who's been splattered in the chest with a red. They're out. You don't shoot that person again.
She's done.
She's done. She's tapped out.
Shoes in hand.
Shoes in hand is a trophy of failure. You didn't meet a guy, and the window's closed.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to hit on her.
So that's what you learned from Vegas.
I learned that. I also learned I twisted my knee last week, and the hotel room from the club is, I clocked it, 1/2 of 1 mile to get there, and through tunnels. And so I twisted my knee, so I got one of those little scooters you put your knee on and you push it like a skateboard.
Yeah.
And so what I realized was, as a 59-year-old, mildly attractive, straight white guy, nobody looks at me. When I walk down the street, I don't get head nods. I don't get winks. I don't get waves. Push yourself on a fucking scooter, and everybody smiles at you. And is it pity? Fine.
Right.
I'll take it. You're noticing
do you
me.
check the scooter out from the desk?
No, I got it here in L.A. and I drove it to Vegas.
Oh, you drove it to Vegas. Oh, and you scoot around that way.
Yes.
It's an interesting thing because the wheelchair's too wide, not mobile enough. You don't need that much mobility, too much handwork or something.
Yeah.
That scooter thing, which I usually seem to see guys with casts on their ankle or something.
Yeah, it's a lot
for
of that. But my knee, I heard it on the side, so I was actually able to put it on the thing.
How do you get up on stage?
They have ramps. I mean, I was able to walk. I just couldn't walk a 1/2 mile.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember it is interesting, the endless. I don't think man was meant to walk endlessly indoors.
Right.
I think there's some sort of psychological effect that happens when you're on the 3-mile mark and you haven't felt any sunshine or breathed any air that didn't have cigarette smoke in it or heard anything other than a slot machine. Like there's something that'll fuck with probably the enzymes in your brain if you walk too far indoors. But the story I love the most, and I don't know why I haven't told it in a long time, but we were at the MGM, which had this like endless hallway situation.
That's where I was, the MGM.
And we may or may not have been drinking, but Jimmy's brother, John, you must have met John.
Yeah, I know John, sure.
John said, we're walking back to our rooms, and John goes, I'm just going to run down this hallway with my eyes closed, shut tight. Which, by the way, women, if you want to know the difference between men and women, that's what guys do when they're drunk.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to see how far I can run down this hallway, and I'm not going to open my eyes. And I said, okay. And he put his hands in his pockets, by his side, and he just started sprinting ahead of me. And at some point, I started seeing him veer to the left, just like he was like a car had one tire that had not enough air in it. It was just, and you let go of the steering wheel, it just starts drifting to the left.
Yeah.
And he was drifting to the left, and he just put his forehead right into a corner, like right into a piece of metal corner bead. By the way, when you do drywall, it's metal. It's not the edge of drywall. It's the edge of metal that is put there because the drywalls get fucked up. And indented like 3 feet in was the door, but this was the corner of the hallway. Just put his forehead right into it, split it wide open, blood going everywhere, and it was one of those. A better man would have attended the emergency room with him.
Yes.
But it was 1:45 and I was buzzed.
Oh, it was just the two of you?
No, it was probably me. We probably were doing crank yankers, and it was probably me and him and one other guy or another guy. But we were out strip clubbing or whatever. And he just ran in the wall, split his forehead open. It was bleeding all over the place. And I was just sort of looking at him, and I said, you got to go to the emergency room. And he's like, yeah. But it was late, and I was buzzed, and I was like, yeah. And I may have told some other guy to make sure he gets there, okay? Yeah. And then I just went to my room, beat off, went to bed. What am I, a physician? You know what I mean?
You're
There's
not.
a lot of.
You're not a cab driver. You're not a physician.
I know there's a lot of. Why aren't you there? It's
Yeah.
like, what do you want me to do? Suture the guy up?
No.
There's nothing I can do. He doesn't. He's 6'4". I'm not going to hold his hand. And he ran into the wall on his own accord.
Not on his own accord. He did it to please you, to make you happy. Would you be happy driving to the emergency room now?
No. He's a pleaser and a bleeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, guys alone. I grew up outside of New York, and there was a women's college, Marymount College. It was a Catholic women's college, and it was all these girls from the Bronx that would come up, and we'd finger them.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're at the library, and the library was 4 stories, and I was with 3 of my buddies. We used to just troll. We used to walk around campus, and we'd have a bottle of wine. We were like 16, and we would try to fool around with the girl. So we get on the top floor of the library, and I said, I got to take a shit. And my friend goes, I dare you to shit on the elevator in 4 floors. I mean, granted, this is the early 80s. Elevators were a little slower then. Get on the elevator. I drop my pants. I crouch. I drop a deuce. The door opens on the ground floor.
Wow.
And 2 young Hispanic girls get on, and we just walk off giggling for 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, what guys can do, I don't think women fully understand what guys can do. I remember there was a place that sold frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
Froyo, back when it was a novelty in the 80s, and it was called Humphrey Frogerts or yogurts or something. They really went a long way to get a name that has... I don't associate Humphrey Bogart with frozen yogurt, but anyway, Humphrey Yogurts or something. And we went there, but it was closed. We thought it would be open. But we did notice there was that aluminum flap mail slot in the door that you could push the mail through and it just land on the floor of the place. So we thought, well, as long as it's closed, we should definitely pee through that slot, all of us, which is a thing that I don't think women would think of, but we thought this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And also pre-Ring doorbell cameras, like pre-cameras everywhere, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, the elevator was your outhouse. The Humphrey Yogurts door slot was a urinal. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do any of that stuff anymore.
No, it's a goddamn
You
shame.
can't. Now, like, homeless people can because they don't care, but you can't.
No, I can't do it anymore. And, you know, I see some of these shows where, you know, like college students doing pranks and you realize today, like, we used to shoplift from the deli. There was like a Store 24 type of situation. And you see these videos of these kids getting busted. And not only do you get busted for the beer, they put it online. And now you're like a criminal. Now you're known for that.
Yeah, the deli steal move for me would be, I had a couple moves. I had like a top hat, like a bowler hat when I was like 9 or 10 for some reason, like secondhand or whatever. And there was a window in the 70s where white guys could wear crazy hats.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
But everyone was sort of Slash from Guns N' Roses back then. Now only black guys can wear cool hats. But there was a time when the white man could wear crazy hats too. But it was only like a 2.5-year period.
Yeah.
And I'd just go to the 7-Eleven, put candy in the hat, and then just put the hat back on. There was that. Then the other move was go to Gelson's. They moved all the deli counters up front because they got smart, because they used to put them in the back, and then I'd go to the back and I order a full turkey drumstick, and then they put it in that foil bag.
Yeah.
By the way, that bag that's got the foil on the inside and the paper on the outside, whatever's in there is good.
Yeah.
Nothing bad ever came out of that bag.
Nope.
And I get the turkey leg, and now they'd give you the receipt, but you pay for it up front, but I didn't have any money. So I had to figure out a way to smuggle it in my pants from the back of the counter of the Gelsons and then out the front door. By the way, I don't know why they never got suspicious, because it's not oftentimes like 11-year-old dudes are just walking through supermarkets kicking tires. You know, like, I'm not purchasing anything. I'm just looking around.
Right.
Just checking out some Honey Nut Cheerios
Yeah.
and getting an idea for what a half-gallon orange juice costs. I may be back. I'm just kind of window shopping here. Like, I would just look around and look interested in food, but I didn't have any money. And then once I got the turkey leg, I would take it out and eat it in the parking lot.
Because also not 11-year-olds packing turkey leg size cock in their pants as they're walking out.
That was
that
a
Carolla
lot.
kid. He's he's got a big future.
He's gifted.
Yeah.
Select quote. All right. Time for a little life talk. Life insurance talk, that is. Yeah, because you probably have it, but you don't know how much you're paying or how much the coverage is or how much you're covered for. It's a little confusing. Odds are you're paying too much for too little. Let's just call it that. And here's a fun thought. If your life insurance is through your job and you get laid off, boom, coverage gone. Buying life insurance is like hiring a bodyguard for your bank account after you're gone. But seriously, Select Quote makes it easy. They've been doing this for over 40 years, helping more than 2 million Americans get over $700 billion in coverage. They don't work for some big one-size-fits-all company. They work for you. In about 15 minutes, Select Quote's licensed agents compare policies from top-rated carriers to find best fit for your health, your budget, and your life, and they do it for free. Am I right, Dawson?
Get the right life insurance for you for less and save more than 50% at selectquote.com/Carolla. Save more than 50% on term life insurance at selectquote.com/Carolla today to get started. That's selectquote.com/Carolla.
Rosetta Stone. You know, fall's kind of a reset button on the year, you know? Cools down, football's on, kids back in school. Maybe it's time for adults to learn something too. For me, I've always wanted to learn a new language, mostly so I don't look like a tourist ordering lunch overseas. That's where Rosetta Stone comes in. These guys have been doing this for over 30 years. They make it simple. You can pick up a new language, Spanish, French, Japanese, you name it, just a few minutes a day. And before you know it, you're learning how to actually think in another language. They've got a thing called True Accent. Gives you instant feedback on your pronunciations. It's like having a patient, non-judgmental teacher who never rolls their eyes at you. Unlike my high school Spanish teacher, you listen, Miss Valdivia, that is your real name. I like how easy it is to jump in whenever you've got time. 5 minutes in between meetings or an hour at home with a cup of coffee. And if you want to go big, you can grab their lifetime membership and learn 25 languages. So you're basically set for life. So this fall, skip scrolling on your phone and do something that actually sticks with you with Rosetta Stone. Right, Dawson?
Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. Adam Carolla Show listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/Adam to get started and claim your 50% off today. Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/Adam and start learning today.
I miss shoplifting. Yeah, I did a fair. Did you do a fair bit of shoplifting?
Yeah, there was a place called Cards and Stuff that was near my friend's house, and it had a back window that they didn't lock, and we used to climb into it. Didn't even have a fucking alarm for some reason. We used to climb into it, and we would steal pens and notebooks and all this stuff, and then we would try to sell it at school, but nobody would buy it. They're like. So we had my friend's garage was just packed with all this stuff. We used to call it Cards and Lift instead of Cards and Stuff.
Right, because you'd lift
But
it.
so that was breaking and entering, which is very different than just sticking something in your pocket.
Yeah, or your dick in a mail slot.
Yeah, and then also at the women's at Marymount College, they had a pub on campus, and we found a way in. So when they'd be closed, we'd go there like after it closed, and we would steal bottles or cases of beer.
I don't think anybody, like my kids, they've never broken into anywhere. You know, like our thing was Colfax Elementary was across the street. We could hop the fence and get on the roof. I don't think my kids have ever been on a roof. Getting on a roof, that's where the action was.
Yeah.
There was get on the roof of the condo and jump into the swimming pool in the backyard of this guy's apartment complex. Lots of climbing onto roofs. And we would get on the roof of Colfax Elementary and climb up to the top of the auditorium. And they had like a hatch with a ladder. And then we'd open the hatch and get down. Now we're just standing in the auditorium. I didn't even know what was in the auditorium. There was nothing in the auditorium. There was no, but just the notion of going to the Mulholland Club up on Mulholland and sneaking up on breaking in and getting on. We'd get on the roof.
Yeah.
Everything was on the roof of everything.
Right.
And if you had a roof and a swimming pool, then we were good because that's where most of the action was.
Yeah, and then you've always got that friend in a wheelchair, you know, to tell the story of that night.
We had one. We didn't have a friend in a wheelchair, but there was a guy in the neighborhood, or sort of in the sphere that was in our not our extended group of dudes, you know, they're like the dudes you knew, and then the dudes you sort of knew, but you still might fight them, because you didn't really know where they stood, you know. But there were those guys, and there was one guy on the outer circle who was in a wheelchair, and his girlfriend was Erica Eleniak, who played the Playboy model in the movie Under Siege.
Eleniak the Maniac.
And we were like, that guy in the wheelchair, his girlfriend is a Playboy bunny and was in the movie Under Siege.
Wow.
She was the co-star in the movie Under Siege. And we were like, that guy's in a wheelchair.
Did he meet her pre-injury and she stuck with him?
I think they met post-injury.
That's impressive.
I don't know. I don't know. We got to look up Erica Eleniak, I think was her last name. She was in Under Siege. She was also in Playboy. She, had a little career, probably did a little Baywatch or something, whatever hot 80s chicks would do.
Wow.
She jumped out of the cake and, it was Baywatchy stuff. She was in a huge movie as a hot chick. So she was that. And she had a boyfriend who was in a wheelchair.
Oh,
and
God.
I never really figured out whether it was pre-skateboard accident or post. I didn't know.
You think she was in it for the parking spot?
She could have wanted the custom van with the lift and the parking spot.
Right.
But I do remember that. I remember us being a little obsessed with it. Like, is he able to take care of her the way we would take care of her? And then I think after Under Siege and Playboy, and I think he got left on the handicap ramp of life. I think after at a certain point, a little Star 80. You know what I mean? Like the Star 80 guy is sitting, he's got the hottest chick in Canada who's working at the puff and stuff, or the Chick-fil-A or whatever over there. And then he take pictures of her and sends it into Hefner. And then Dorothy Stratton, next thing you know, she's heading to Los Angeles. And next thing you know, Peter Bogdanovich is fucking her.
Yeah.
And this guy's back home in Canada. Hey, be careful. What do you think's going to happen here?
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
You should have seen this one coming.
No, he should have been taking her to an ice cream shop every night. Put some pounds on her.
Or just stay home in Quebec.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Try to convince her she's ugly. Keep the job at the chicken place, and you just stay home in Canada and fuck her.
That's right.
But instead, you took pictures and sent them in.
She's a Canadian 12.
That's right. Can't find Erica Eleniak disabled boyfriend. Well, it definitely predates. It predates the Under Siege years.
So,
And I don't know what Erica Laniak is up to now. They either...
wait, so you went to high school with her?
No, I went to high school with Christy Canyon, the porn star. and
How
a
exciting
handful
was
of
that
other-
the first time you saw her having sex, having known her as a teen? I mean, you can't even talk right now. I mean, that's unreal because you had already, that scene had already played out in your mind before you saw it. Yeah.
Just give me a second.
Yeah.
So let me just decompress. Okay. Let me paint the picture.
Okay.
I asked her out.
Oh, look at you. That was a Hail Mary.
Well, there's only so much time left on the clock,
That's
and I'm
right.
behind.
Yeah.
I got to put it up there. You risk the interception, but you got it. What are your choices? I can't hand the ball off anymore. I can't play it safe.
No.
There's a couple ticks on the clock.
They're guarding the sidelines.
They got the nickel package in.
Yeah.
The Russian 3.
Yeah.
They got a guy playing center field. What are my choices? I'm way behind. There's 3 ticks left on the clock. I got to throw it up.
Right.
So she was probably, I was living in a garage. I remember that. I was living in my dad's garage. I must have been like 18 or probably like 18. And I think she was like 17 or something. I think she's about a year and a half younger than I am or something like that. But Christy Canyon looked like Christy Canyon when she was 16. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
She looked like a 16-year-old Christy Canyon because she got into porn when she was 18. So, when she was 17, she looked the same.
So she skipped college.
Yeah. Yeah, she got
okay.
a scholarship to do porn.
Okay.
So, and there was like some tale. Like there was a guy I knew, like took her out a couple of times. I was like, God, man, what's that like? Man. Because she looked like her. And I asked her out, and she said, okay.
Really?
Yeah. And then I remember that day prepping. Like I washed my dad's car. I was going to borrow his car. I know I went to the Army surplus store, and I don't know why, but probably to buy new pants. But it's back when people go to the Army surplus store, which smelled like rubber and failure.
Sounds like the beginning of an incel story. This is like Taxi Driver.
And I bought like new pants at the Army surplus store, and I washed my dad's car, and I was getting all prepped for the date. And somewhere around, I don't know, 7 o'clock that night, I don't know if I called her and I was like, where are you? Or she called me or whatever it was, but it was just sort of, it was like that scene in Goodfellas when De Niro called on the phone to see if Joe Pesci was made or not. It's like, he's gone, and that's that. And I remember being like, hey, we going out tonight? And it's like, no, that's not going to happen, and that's that. I was like, I just got new pants. Yeah. Well, that's that. And I remember just like hanging up the phone going, it's not like she said she was sick and we're going to reschedule or anything. It's just, that's that.
There's no pin in it?
That's that.
Yeah.
That was that. There's nothing we can do. And then I knocked the phone booth over. I was so angry. And then must have been, a year and a half later. I mean, now, year and a half, 2 years later, and I'm living in my apartment with my roommates, my 1-bedroom in North Hollywood off of Laurel Canyon. And I just come home from work, with my truck and, boots and stuff, parking out in the street. And
Those pants are worn out at this point.
There was no form of communication, no cell phones, no. Construction sites didn't have a job phone. If someone needed to get hold of you, they need to drive over to the job site and go find you, And like I came walking into the living room, and there were like 3 or 4 dudes like having a confab in my living room, and I was like, what's going on here? And I go, Missy, what's her name? Missy's, she's done a porn. And I'm like, I grabbed the guy by the lapels and I threw him against the wall. I said, do not bullshit a bullshitter. And they were like, there's a movie out. She's in it. She's doing full naked porn. And I'm like, she's in this movie. Yeah. She's getting fucked in this movie. I was like, where's the movie? Where's the movie? Where's the movie? What's the movie called? Because it's called On Golden Blonde.
Really?
Yeah.
That was kind of famous, wasn't it?
The porn?
Yeah.
Not the one with Katharine Hepburn in it. But
No. But maybe I just heard that title a lot because it was such a funny title.
It was called On Golden Blonde.
Yeah.
And I go, On Golden Blonde must have been 1984 or something, because I was just out of the house and out of high school and living in my apartment. Is it 84? I can't really.
God, Ginger Lynn was in that one?
84.
She was a crowd favorite.
Yeah. But I wasn't interested in Ginger Lynn.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go to high school with her. So I was like, what is going on? Where is this? What is this movie On Golden Blonde? And the guys that were like in the car, in the living room, as I recall, a number of guys, neighborhood guys, they knew her as well. And they're like, it's we got to rent it. I go, okay, where is it? And it was kind of pre-Blockbuster and stuff like that. And you have to get on the phone, and some Asian guy'd pick up the phone, and he's like, on Golden Bond, and Golden Pond. Go check the back. You know what I mean? Like, go see if is it rented out? You know, and they're like, we somehow figured that it was at some place. There was some Mon Pa video store that had the porn section in the back with the beads or the Western doors, you know.
Right.
And it was like off of Sherman Way and Laurel Canyon. It was like kind of deep North Hollywood. And like somebody was like on the phone. It was like, they got it at All-Star Rentals, video rentals in North Hollywood off Sherman Way and Roscoe. And he like hung up the phone, and we all piled down the stairs. Like you could hear that sound in cartoons when the guy's running, you know, that bongo sound, you know? And then it was like mad, mad, mad world. We're all driving, pickup swerving, going through red lights. I was like, I'm coming, mama. Like guys are driving while they're steering and crying, you know, behind the wheel.
Yeah.
We come flying, like fling the door open and slide across the linoleum. Where's the porn section? Sweaty.
Like Liam Neeson in Taken.
Yeah, that's right. Right. We run in. People are just throwing movies off the rack, you know, grab it. Like one guy's, I got it. Like we run back, you know. Yeah, that was a big.
And did you watch it as a group? Or were there allotted times? Like I get it from 2:12 to 2:24.
I think we must have watched it as a group. I couldn't see a scenario where I could get my friends to give me a little space and some quiet time with Christy Canyon.
Right.
I just couldn't imagine that. Plus, several years earlier, her sister Carolla asked me to the Sadie Hawkins dance. Mm. So she had like a half sister that was cute who actually asked me to a dance.
Did you go?
Yeah, as I recall.
Did you make love to her?
No, I was in like the 8th grade or something.
Okay.
But I did have a connection.
Yeah.
I had an in.
Well,
and then she was Christy Canyon because of Laurel Canyon. We lived on Laurel Canyon. Yeah.
Peter North was in that film. I mean, he's one of the greats of all time. I know this was a famous movie. On Golden Blonde was one of the biggest porn movies of the 80s.
I don't know, because it was pre-internet, so we didn't know anything. But I knew we had to get our hands on that movie, and the fact. I mean, the one perk.
How late was that rental?
We weren't kind. We did not rewind. The one perk of being a San Fernando Valley guy is oftentimes girls you went to high school with ended up doing porn movies because everyone's just white trash, you know. And there was another time when a couple of Tiffany and I don't know, whatever, her sister both got into porn. Now it was like both the sisters in porn.
Yeah, there was a female comedian in Boston when I was starting out, and she had one of those bodies where you just literally, if she walks in the room, the guy could be talking to his newlywed wife. She's still got the dress on, and he is going to turn his back to her and look at this body.
Mm-hmm.
She moves out to L.A. to do some acting, and about a year later, you remember the like Cinemax, like the soft core? One of those came out, and it got on a VHS that got passed around, and CSI could have done a season on what was on that VHS tape with a black light.
I do have a, well, we started off by talking about eccentricities or bits and mouths or pulling carts or crushing cockroaches and all the weird stuff, right? And I don't have any of that, but I've stumbled on to a newer one.
Really?
Yeah. And I can't figure out whether I'm ashamed of it or not.
Okay.
But I'm going to be honest with you, Greg.
Well, I feel like that's what the Adam Carolla Show is about. It's about you finding the things you're embarrassed about and then sharing them with your millions
and I'd be
of
curious
listeners.
if anyone else had this thought. But it struck me that the On Golden Blonde experience was so transformative and life-changing and exciting for us as young men. But I realize every porn you see stars a woman who comes from a high school that had 25 dudes who went to high school with her. And, you know, especially if it's like one where she's got a big rack, those guys in high school were all about the rack, never got a shot of the rack, fantasized about peeking into the women's shower room. But for every one of those women, there's a high school guy who went to school with them that is watching this.
Yes.
Now, I'm not getting anything out of it other than it's a good-looking chick with a nice rack and a porn, but I don't have the extra added dimension of I went to high school. I only get that with Christy Canyon.
Right.
You got half of it with the Skinamax Boston comedian.
Yeah.
Most guys, I would reckon, don't really have that experience.
No, and I would.
But everyone who's watching what you're watching right now on your phone or on your TV, there's a bunch of guys who went to high school with that chick that are enjoying themselves a lot more than you.
Well, it also is an opportunity to sort of download the 2.0 version of the girl, because if there's a girl, there was a girl, Ashley Peterson, that I went to high school with, and she was very beautiful, and she was a regular. She was page 1 in the Rolodex. I went to her often.
Often into the spank bank.
Into the spank bank. Now, I'm 59. That card's still in the Rolodex, but then I stop and I go, wait a minute, Greg, she's 16. She's underage. Am I allowed to access that? Am I, in fact, grandfathered in for Ashley Peterson? Or do I have to take that card out of the Rolodex?
No, I think as long as you're a contemporary, just like you would have been allowed to date them at 16 if you were 16.
So
but if you're 59 and 16,
it.
I think you can timestamp it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, that may just
because I've struggled with that.
Yeah, I've heard, I've seen it. I can see it in your eyes.
Can I tell you a story just off topic?
Yeah.
So I go to Alaska last weekend.
Oh, I love Alaska.
2 weekends ago, yeah. And I'm doing this club in Fairbanks. And I say to the guy that runs the club, I said, I want to do something kind of outdoorsy. I'm in Alaska. Let me do something. So he calls me back and he goes, there's this guy. I'm forgetting his first name, but his last name, I'm not going to say his last name. So he goes, he's got an outdoors company, snowmobiles and ATVs, and he's a fan of yours, and he's really excited to take you out. I said, amazing. But then I'm also a little bit nervous because, I grew up in New York, and I've been here for 25 years. I'm soft. I'm not an outdoorsy guy. And these Alaska guys, I'm just picturing this is like a guy who's, I'm going to be cold by the end of the day, and something's going to hurt. So he picks me up. And he's got a monster truck. The wheels are as tall as I am, and he's towing this dune buggy covered in mud. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I get in the truck, and we start driving. And it turns out he's just the nicest guy. He's older than me. He's retired. And so I was like, all right, we're going to have a nice day. Siren goes off behind us. We're getting pulled over by the cops. And he goes, this is bad. I go, this is bad. I go, I don't think you did anything wrong. And he goes, this is bad. So the cop starts walking towards the car, and I'm not making a word of this up. He hands me a baggie with white powder in it, and part of it spills on my leg. Wow. And he goes, get rid of this. So I stick it in the back seat, under the seat. Cop walks up. He goes, license and registration. And the guy goes, grab my registration out of the glove box. So I open the glove box, and another baggie with pills and $100 bills starts to pop out. And I shove it back in with the back of my hand. I cover it with a piece of paper. And the cop goes, what are you hiding? And so, great. Now I'm an accomplice.
Yeah.
And so I hand him the bag of drugs, and he tells us to put our hands on the dashboard.
Wow.
And so he says to the guy, he's going to run this guy's license. He runs it. We got our hands on the dashboard. He comes back. He goes, sir, do you realize there's an outstanding felony warrant? And he goes, yeah. And then the cop goes, are there any firearms in the car? And I'm thinking, naturally.
Yeah.
I'm sure
got a grenade launcher and a bazooka.
So he goes, no, I don't have one. So he takes him out of the car, and he handcuffs him. And he brings him back to the car. I'm sitting there going like, I got a fucking show tonight,
Wow.
And so the cop walks back, and he goes, I'm not coming closer to you because that's fentanyl on you.
Oh, wow.
Ask me for my license. I give it to him, and I go, dude, I'm a comedian. I just met this guy 20 minutes ago. I have no idea. And he goes, I'm not buying it. He's like, you're from California. That's a drug feeder state, was the phrase.
Feeder.
And then he goes, and I don't believe you're a comedian. You're not funny. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry I wasn't on.
Yeah. I know.
So he goes, all right, well, are you feeling any effects from the, I go, yeah. I said, I'm extremely lightheaded. I feel very off. So he goes, well, I have one of those pens.
Narcan.
The Narcan back in the car. So he goes, get out of the car, just walk carefully. So I start walking, and we go back to the police car, and he opens up the back door, and the guy who is driving me gets out, and then they both look at me, and they go, we're coming to your show tonight, and they started laughing.
Oh, my God.
And I fell on the ground on all fours out of relief, and I couldn't stop laughing.
That is the greatest. That's
unbelievable.
Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And out of Alaska. I didn't expect Alaska guys. I didn't know they had this in them.
No. I love a
joke. It
joke.
was great.
That is awesome.
And then they took me to a bar, the Ice Bar. There's this place. It's a hot springs, and then it's got a building made out of ice.
Oh, wow.
And there's a bar that's made out of ice, and we sat there, and they proceeded to drink 6 to 7 appletinis, frozen appletinis. And then I'm like, we were an hour away at this point from where we started. I go, how the fuck are we getting home? And I go, I'm driving. So now I'm behind the wheel of this fucking monster truck with a dune buggy behind me, and these two guys are laughing at me the entire way home that they got me.
I got to tell you, I played the same club, and I did not make any fans when I announced on stage that I've been hearing about the fresh caught Alaskan salmon my whole life. I came here, I pulled some out of the river, we cooked it up. It was fine. But no better than the shit I get frozen at Trader Joe's.
You said that?
I said it.
Oh.
And I meant it. I said, if you took the Trader Joe's flash frozen stuff and you cooked it next to this, I would not know. And that whole bar, that entire place turned on me in an instant. And I said, I am being serious, and I would challenge you guys to tell the difference either.
Yeah.
I did not make any new fans. All right, Kevin Federline, who... I never thought I'd be interviewing, is going to join us. He's got a new book.
I was just reading about it. In the book, he reveals. Can I talk about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So he reveals that Britney, he tried to stop her because She was breastfeeding the baby while doing cocaine. And my first thought was, all right, first of all, not the first guy to be jacked up on coke sucking on those titties.
Yeah.
You know. And and secondly, I bet the baby started talking young and wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, because I got the coke. Yeah.
Right.
All right, Fitzdog. He's going to be, well, he's going to be in Chicago. It's going to be Appleton, Wisconsin. You should go, and he's doing a, Comedy Store. That's out here.
The Best Buddies benefit.
GregFitzsimmons.com if you want to see a really great comedian and have all the dates around him. All right, we'll bring in K-Fed right after this. BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th. Oh, wait a minute. We just passed October 10th. Doesn't matter. Every day is World Mental Health Day in this podcaster's book. This year, BetterHelp wants to say thank you to the therapists. Over 5 million people have been helped by BetterHelp therapists worldwide. These therapists show up, listen, and help people take steps forward. Therapy moments like the right question or safe spot to let it all out. It can change a life. If something's keeping you up at night, talking to someone can really help. BetterHelp makes it easy to connect with licensed therapists online this World Mental Health Day and every Mental Health Day, because every day should be celebrated. Celebrate the therapists who help millions get better. It's BetterHelp, right, Dawson?
This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first meeting at betterhelp.com/Carolla. That's better, HELP.com/Carolla.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Lee County, Florida. A 54-year-old man shot and killed his neighbor's pregnant cow. The man was charged with animal cruelty and grand theft of a commercial farm animal. Definitely not a Jew.
Kevin Federline is joining us. He's in Hawaii with a beautiful vista behind him. Good to talk to you again, Kevin.
You too, man. You too. That's a credible introduction you got there.
Yeah, well, the good people from Alcoa have been sponsoring that bit for over 20 years. God bless them. You Thought You Knew is the name of the memoir. It's available now everywhere. You guys have probably been hearing bits and pieces of this book come out. If you watch shows like I do, like TMZ, I've been seeing K-Fed pop up here and there, always in Hawaii, always jealous, and talking about the book. And we can get into that. I like your story as well. So you grew up in Fresno. I grew up in North Hollywood, California. So we're both sort of SoCal guys, or at least I'm a SoCal guy, Fresno guy, not too far away. I don't know. What's Fresno? 4-hour drive or something? 5 hours?
I used to do it in under 3 when I was younger.
Oh, really?
I got a couple tickets doing that, but yeah.
So
it's probably about 3 hour, 20-minute drive.
Same neck of the woods. And you grow up, dad's a mechanic, right? Mom's a bank teller. So just pedestrian, kind of blue-collar-y stuff. Fresno's very blue-collar, no glitz and glamour. Doesn't probably feel like California the way people would picture California who weren't from here, right?
Right, absolutely.
And just working class. So for you growing up, what's the plan? Like when dancing is sort of like singing, you sort of figure out you can do it early on.
I mean, I was a teenager when I really, even when I was young, it was the music that really drove me to want to dance. So it's always been, fueled by music. But yeah, growing up, I started out probably 13 years old dancing. And during, the later part of my teenage years, I ventured off into some other crazy lifestyle and found it again. thank God for my best friend, Jimmy Federico. You know, I talk about this in my book. It's like, I feel like that friendly competition turned into something that allowed me to achieve, you know, dreams that I had always had since I was young.
Well, you danced for and with, I guess, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Aaliyah, LFO, Destiny's Child. So how would you rate yourself as a dancer? Because I think people know you for other things, but they don't really think of you that way. But you have to be good, otherwise you don't get to dance with Michael Jackson, right?
That's very, very true. That is very true. At one time, I was in the top, you know, percentage of dancers for sure. I absolutely loved it, and then you know, I used dance to kind of, it was like my therapy growing up. So, you know, it became a part of me instead of just something to do. And I feel like, you know, I took that to the big leagues.
And how do you go about dancing for Michael Jackson or Destiny's Child or Justin Timberlake?
Well, some of them, you know, Michael, I had to audition for, and it really came down to me and one of my other best friends, who was actually the choreographer for Justin Timberlake, Marty Kudelka. We were the last two in the room for the last spot for this Michael Jackson video. And, you know, it's kind of political at that point, you know, and I wound up getting it over him because I truly believe that Marty's probably the better dancer.
Well, then why did they want you if he's the better dancer?
I don't know. You know, that whole thing kind of played out weird. I had connections to the director, and I had, you know, Marty had half the room pushing for him, and I had half the room pushing for me. And then it wound up being that I got pulled down into Universal Studios back lot, and this was weeks later. And they played the track, and I talk about this in my book. And what really landed me the job was that they made me freestyle to You Rock My World before anybody had ever even heard it. And that's what got me the job over Marty.
And when you say freestyle, they just go, I'm going to start playing this song, and you just move however it moves you.
That's right. Now I'm going to play the record, and you do your thing, you know, whatever it is you do it.
And
which is a tight place to be in that situation when you know that, you know, probably one of the best performers in the world of all time is going to be watching somehow, some way, whether it's video or whatever, he saw it.
So you're dancing, and you do which Michael Jackson video?
I did You Rock My World.
Oh, you did the song you freestyled to.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So, and that was, you know, I got the pleasure of meeting Marlon Brando, Chris Tucker, you know, a lot of big names at that time. And I mean, you know, in history, it was a very, very good experience for me as a dancer. I felt like it was like the top of the top of everything.
And if we watch that video, we'll spot you in it.
Yeah, you could spot me. I'm one of the guys on the end. I used to wear my hair in braids back then, so you can kind of see my braids sticking out like ponytails almost.
And like for Destiny's Child or Timberlake, are you doing videos or are you going out on tour?
So I did, for those two, I did videos, and I did performances at the Grammys, you know, all the award shows, things like that. I didn't wind up going on tour with either one of those two. I went on tour with Pink. You know, it's all a bunch of different types of things, right? So you're doing music videos with different artists, you're doing tours with different artists, radio shows, award shows, commercials. I mean, it's just, you know, everything entertainment.
Yeah, on the subject of not nearly as glamorous, when I used to be a carpenter, I got on sort of the celebrity assistant circuit, and you just got passed around. Like, word got out, and then you just work, and someone would call you, and they know you worked for Katie Seagal. So Scott Baio's guy would call you, and you'd go do something for him. And it's just kind of word of mouth. Like, is that kind of how it went for you?
Yeah, so it was, you know, in the beginning, you're really trying to establish letting people know who you are, and knowing that you're going to show up, and knowing that you can actually do the choreography. And from there, for me, I just got better and better and better. And I learned all these different styles of dance of all these people that were working, and, you know, people started talking, and that was it. Once you start growing your resume, you know, then people see what you've done, and that's it. Good work gets more work. I think I said that in the book.
So fast forward, you meet Britney Spears. Now, I didn't know this. I was guilty of it too. I think people think you danced as a backup dancer for her just because they did the math, but you didn't.
That's right. That's right. I never danced for Britney. No tours, no, you know, the only video I was ever in was after we were already together. But I did meet her through a dancer that was a mutual friend at a nightclub, and that's where the sparks went flying from there.
Were you a big Britney Spears fan before you met her?
I mean, it wasn't really the music genre that I listened to personally. You know, I wasn't really a pop guy. I was always more of a hip hop and R&B guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can speak to this, but there are musicians who just want to play, and the musicians who just want to play, you can find them on a stage in front of 13 people on a Sunday night because they just want to play. And there's comedians who just want to play. And you see comedians, they'll pop up everywhere all the time. And then there are guys that quit the second they get a sitcom, and you talk to them and they haven't done stand-up in 20 years. It's because they don't really like stand-up. They just did it so they could get a sitcom, and now they got a sitcom. They don't need to do stand-up anymore. And then there are guys who, with a sitcom and millions of dollars, will be out on any given night at some club that's half full. Britney Spears and like sort of Paula Abdul, they didn't strike me as people that needed to get up on stage and play. They were almost felt like creations to me who had ability, but also didn't have a love, like a pure love for the game. Is that a correct assessment?
I think that's maybe yes and no, right? I think that, you know, because I could tell that she does love music, right? She, in her spare time, I mean, she would get on a piano and just try to create. She had that very creative mentality. Now, getting up on stage in front of all of those people, you know, I don't know, you know, that was like an up and down situation. It's like one minute you want to be up there and you want to do all of these things, and the next minute you want to run from it, you know. And I kind of, over the last 20 years, I understand that feeling, right? Because I've kind of been shown that everything that I wanted is everything that I hate, especially when it comes to Hollywood.
With Britney, it always just seemed like she had some underlying psychological deficits or issues, and that was just something that plagued her and she had to sort of deal with, and maybe it wasn't dealt with correctly, but it always seemed like she just had issues, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't really see it until later on, right? I didn't see, I mean, there were signs, and I talk about this in my book too. There were things that I kind of passed off as, you know, her gaining fame at such a young age, and being able to have the world at her fingertips and never being told no. And, you know, a lot of things that I tried to put some type of perspective on while we were together. It wasn't until our divorce and seeing what happened from that, and the spiral and all of that, where it really became apparent to me that, yes, there's, you know, unfortunate things there.
Would you typify yourself as a normal guy from Fresno who was in a kind of abnormal environment?
100%, right? 100%. I am exactly that. I'm just a normal guy, and I was put in an absolute extraordinary situation. One that I couldn't have prepared for in 1,000 years, you know? And so, And that's kind of what the story of my life, right? I got stuck navigating a situation that I had no idea what it was when I got into it.
Well, you were young, like 26 when you guys met.
Yes.
And so you didn't have any tools to really deal with that. Sort of in a weird way. You know, it's like when some inner city kid signs a multi-million-dollar contract to go to the NBA and he's 19 and they go, what do you spend that money on that junk jewelry for? Something, because he doesn't know. He's totally ill-equipped for this environment, this situation. And so
that's exactly right.
Right. So was there any thoughts where you thought we should get into some counseling, or we should talk to somebody, or we should like figure this thing out?
Well, no, we didn't really get that chance, you know, because when it went left, I mean, it really went left, you know. I mean, there was, after the night of my album release party, I went to my lawyer because I knew that she was just done listening to anything that I had to say on the topics. And, you know, from there, it was 5 or 6 days after that, she filed for divorce, you know. And then, I mean, when you go through divorce in California, for us, especially since we had kids, yeah, we had to go to like therapy sessions per the court. But I mean, all of that was just basically trying to structure how you're going to manage your family, a broken family, right? It was never like marriage counseling or anything like that. So, you know, we didn't get the opportunity to do that.
Also, she comes from a humble environment, kind of out in the sticks and stuff. She probably wasn't prepared for any of this stuff either. I mean, you had two people who were ill-equipped for this lifestyle, all of a sudden sort of put together in one mansion and told to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that's a very true statement, right? It's, neither of us were prepared for any of this. And I don't really know that you can prepare for fame like that, right? And I talk about fame in my book, and the way that I see it is like the most powerful drug on the planet. You know, I just don't know. And there's people that are out there that handle it well, and they, you know, they're off doing what they love to do, and they seem to manage it okay. But I mean, that's few and far between. I mean, at some point it hits you, and you get caught in this whirlwind of all kinds of things, and adding your ego on top of that and thinking that you could conquer the world. I mean, it's a mess. It's a hard situation to do for anybody.
Did you feel like people were condescending to you? Like you're, you know, Mr. Britney Spears, like they didn't take you as seriously as you would like to have been taken?
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of that is my own doing, right? The way that I got into the situation. And I kind of explain that as well in the book. It's like I jumped into meeting the world by leaving my pregnant girlfriend for America's Pop Princess. I mean, I don't know what I expected out of that, but I mean, it definitely, you know, as soon as I became famous, I also became infamous. And that never really allowed people didn't even want to get to know who I really was from that point. It was just kind of like, this dude's a scumbag. He jumped out of his trailer and into her mansion. I mean, that's just kind of the attitude that took hold right from the start.
Did you have to break it to your pregnant girlfriend that you were, you know, interested in Britney Spears, or did you just say, I found somebody new, or I'm breaking up with you? Because it turns it into a completely different situation when Britney Spears' name gets worked into that conversation.
Right. Well, I mean, I go through, you know, this is one of the moments in my book where I really had to dig deep and come forward with the truth on all of that as well, right? Even though I've apologized to Shar about these things, I feel the way I handled that situation was horrible. You know, I was not truthful, and I let her figure things out on her own before I finally manned up and called her and talked to her about it, which was probably the worst thing that I could do. You know, and in my book, I apologized to my children for you know, not being the person I should have been and not being the person I wanted to be at the time. But I was young, and I was completely thrust into a relationship that was immediately everything to me. My connection with Britney was just insane.
Yeah, and also when you're a young dude, you got hormones and chemicals and things pulsing through your veins that put you in a totally different space that is much different than when you get a little older and your prostate enlarges a little bit, you mellow out a little bit, you see things a little more clearly. But at that time, man, there's just so much energy and you're very impulsive. Like you'll do things that aren't thought out. And I was watching you on TMZ, I think it was last week, and you were talking about a scene where on the eve of your wedding, Britney went out, made a phone call, was teary, said she was talking to Justin Timberlake, and then the next day you got married. And it reminded me of that scene in Casino where Sharon Stone did the same thing with James Woods as I was thinking about it. But that would have given some guys pause. They would have stopped and said, maybe we shouldn't go through with the marriage tomorrow.
Right. And I mean, I actually in that moment said that to her that, we don't need to go through with this. Like if there's doubts or any of those things that, I wasn't there to get married right away. I was happy taking the time to really get to know each other and spend the years that it takes, to make those decisions, the right way. But also I knew how she felt about me. Right. And I knew how we were with each other. So I kind of, took it with a grain of salt at the time. And, and the reason why I write about it in my book is because it really didn't become apparent to me until I read her book and all of the things that she was saying about Justin in her book, where it was like, okay, maybe there is something there that she just could never move past, right? And
why, I don't get why she didn't lie to you. Like, she picked up the phone, she called Justin, presumably to go, look, the window's closing for good tomorrow when I get married. Do you have any, change my mind? Go ahead. This is your last chance. But if I had that conversation, I would have it very privately, and then I would hang up the phone, and then I would come back into the house, and I would go, I was talking to the gardener. So I don't know why she admitted that, or did you overhear her?
No, I walked out and saw her talking on the phone and crying. And initially I thought that maybe she was talking to her mom and maybe she was getting cold feet or whatever it was. And the fact that she was honest with me about it, I mean, I think that in a way, I respected it, And also, when I think about it now, it's maybe she was testing me, right? To see if I was still ready and still willing to do this, even after hearing something like that. I really don't know the full reasoning behind it, but looking back now, obviously we could take a million guesses at what it was.
Well, it's interesting that she was forthright. Like she said, I was talking to Justin Timberlake and then crying. And then I guess my thing would have been, why were you crying? Or were you thanking him for the wedding gift? Or like, what was this transaction that was happening here? But I don't know. Did you dig into that, or did you not want to know?
No, I mean, for me, I kind of looked at it like, I know that obviously they had something before us. And I know that, there was still a friendship there. Not that they talk all the time, but I know, they went through a lot together. I mean, even in her childhood, I think that they've been around each other since Mickey Mouse Club days. So, I didn't pry into it. I knew who I was as a guy, and I knew that, I was very solid and comfortable with who I was. And so, even if it was something to where it was like, I'm not ready for this. Maybe we need to take a break or take a pause. In those moments, I would have been fine with that as well, right? Trying to be understanding. By the time me and Britney got together, I was not a jealous person. You know, I had already been through enough relationships and been through that jealousy. I was grown in those ways of like really knowing who I was. And you know, so that's another piece of it to where I think that I was able to brush it off as and kind of just take her word for it. You know, and then after that, I mean, things were great for a long time. You know, we we were really close. So I knew that she truly cared and truly loved me. I mean, we were there for each other and really deep in it with each other for a while.
And so when did things take a turn, and why did they take a turn? Do you think it was drugs?
Um, yeah, I mean, I couldn't really say. I think that drugs play a part in it, obviously. I think that, you know, having children back to back probably played a part in it. And, you know, maybe I didn't see all the signs that I should have seen at the time to where we could have done like what you said and sat down and like had some sessions about this. But, you know, I go into my book and talk about a moment where, you know, she fired the whole team of people that I trusted with my life and people that were like brothers to me. And that put me in a place where I just felt uncomfortable in my own home, you know, and that's just not a really great way to live. Um, and then shortly after she had our second child is whenever my album release party happened, and, you know, the incident with me catching her doing drugs in my album release party and then going home. And she was breastfeeding at the time. So, and I asked her, please don't go home and breastfeed the children. She got up, threw a drink in my face. I mean, and that's when I knew, like, she was done listening to reason with me. There was just there was no question on that, you know. And so I went the next day, and that's when I went to my lawyer and had him draft a letter demanding that she stop breastfeeding the kids. And from there, a few days later, I was completely blindsided by her filing for divorce. You know, I was still trying to process what had happened a week before.
Was it cocaine? Was that the drug of choice?
Yes, yes.
And were you doing drugs at the time?
Not at the time. I did shortly after I got hit with the divorce and all these things started happening. Then I started diving back in. And I mean, I did my fair share of partying when I was a teenager, you know, and by the time I moved to LA, I didn't really mess around with too much. I've always smoked weed, you know, and I drank occasionally. But while we were together, I didn't. I smoked weed. She knew that the whole time we were together. But I didn't really drink when we were together. You know, I was enjoying that life with her at the time. I didn't really, even going out, you know, like I didn't like to go out as much. We would go out a couple of times every now and then, but it always just seemed like it became like a pain in the ass, you know, with everybody following you, all these eyes on you, all of these things. It's just like, man, this isn't as fun as it used to be. And I was enjoying our time together more so at the house and working on music and doing all of these things. So, you know, but yes, once we got divorced, I fell too, you know. That's my thing. It's like, I'm not sitting here pointing fingers. I'm pointing fingers at myself too. I wasn't perfect. I didn't do, you know, I wasn't doing right by my family right away either.
Was there an ironclad prenup, or what did you guys have in place?
I mean, gosh, it's been so long since I've even known. I mean, you're talking 20 years ago, so I don't really know. I mean, there was a prenup. Ironclad, I don't know, you know. I mean, it definitely, as far as, you know, money went, I didn't care. I remember Mark Kaplan, my lawyer, and telling me, and I'm telling him, like, I don't care about the money. Like, we're going to be together forever, you know. I mean, he'd even go out and tell people this because that's the way that I thought back then, that I would never need this. And he was like, look, you'd be surprised. Obviously, a divorce lawyer in Los Angeles knows very well that where you think you're at, you might not wind up there within a year or two. But yeah, I mean, we had one. What the details are in it, I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't looked at it in a while.
But you just honored it. I mean, just went by what was on the prenup.
Yeah, 100%. Like when we got divorced, I have honored it 100%. I mean, this was, you know, it wasn't about the money. It never was. You know, for me, I got married because I was madly in love, you know, and I had a life with her that, yeah, even now I can look back on it. And I mean, there's so many moments that I'm proud of. There's so many things that I can hold on to through everything that's followed that, you know, I'm happy. You know, there were happy times there. There were really good moments.
When's the last time?
I mean, look, she gave me like two of the greatest things in my life and my sons, right? So, you know, I'm very thankful for that.
When's the last time you guys spoke?
Oh man, it's been years, 5-6 years at least. I mean, it's been a very, very long time. And
last question, what do you kind of hope for her, and what do you think that would mean? Does it mean therapy? Does it mean the conservatorship stuff? Does it mean, you know, living in a sober house? Does it mean not performing? Does it mean, you know, getting remarried and finding Jehovah or Christianity? Like, what would you recommend or hope for?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have the answers. I feel like, you know, we've tried so much privately. We've tried so much, you know, and then even doing that, so much has been public, and just the situation that we're in right now. It's like, how do you get through? How do you get somebody help? I mean, we know anybody that looks at the situation for what it is knows that help is needed, right? But how do you get help for somebody that doesn't think they need help? I mean, it's a hard situation. And for my kids, right? Like, that is the main thing, is that what I hope is that she's here for a long time, you know, and right now that's all that I can hope for, because I don't know how to get through, you know, other than letting her know that there's many people around her right now that absolutely love her and want to be there and want to help. And you got to let them in, man. You just got to let them in. And that choice starts with her.
The book, You Thought You Knew, available everywhere. Kevin, I'm glad I got a chance to speak to you, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Kevin Federline. We'll take a quick break, and we'll do news right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts, pow. Yeah, you know the tune. And you know the guys that keep your car on the road. So you don't want to end up stuck on the shoulder like some kind of dope, friendly, helpful service people who actually know their stuff. Not some kid who'd rather be on his phone, or maybe is on his phone when you're trying to get some help out of him. O'Reilly's always been my place. I mean, way back in the day when I was just wrenching on my truck, I would use O'Reilly. Now it's for my vintage race cars, but they got to work on that track, and that's why I go to O'Reilly. Thousands of parts and accessories stocked in-store or online, so you don't have to panic when the check engine light comes on. Need wipers swapped, brake lights out? These pros help you find what you need, or they'll hook you up with a local shop if you're not the DIY type. So whether you're a gearhead or don't know a lug nut from a donut, they'll walk you right through it. No attitude, real help. Stop by today, O'Reilly Auto Parts, or you can visit us online at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections from Paranormal Activity, The Ring,
You will die in 7 days.
Scream, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
This is my kind of place.
And don't miss the man-made nightmares in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or the world-ending chaos in 28 Days Later.
There's something in the blood.
All the scares, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, this is Pete from Malden in Pennsylvania. I was watching college football yesterday and I noticed there's no more beer commercials. What the fuck happened to this country? Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Yeah, I think there's beer commercials. They
During
don't,
college games?
they don't let them drink it, which is so weird. We're archaic and weird.
Oh, you mean that we don't allow college students to drink? I'm like, there's drinking at college games allowed.
No, we don't allow in the commercial for them to drink the beer.
Oh, it's just them showing it.
They can show it, they can toast, and they can bring it up to their lips, but they cannot actually drink it. So it's always weird because they toast, like in those Modelo commercials, they go, you worked hard, you learned the art of automotive upholstery, and you hitchhiked from Tijuana to Los Angeles. Now you run an upholstery shop. And they show them all in the back, in the kitchen, or at the upholstery shop where they are, and they hoist their beer, they click them, and then they all go down to their waist. And it's like, well, last I checked, once you clink the beers, then you take a draw off the beer. It's bad luck.
You're not supposed to cheers.
You don't cheer and then go back down to your waist. You got to go into your soup cooler.
It's funny. I saw a Corona commercial the other day, and now that I didn't even put that together. It's like the guy was like pushing the lime into the bottle.
Right. Yeah, but they don't. We're weirdos because I don't know who you're offending here or even what laws we're breaking. I mean, these are old laws, I guess. But
I think they probably were around, well, if children are watching the game, we don't want children to be enticed to drink. So the visualization I know, it's dumb.
You're showing the product and you're implying we're at a barbecue with my Mexican buddies. We're obviously going to put down a few Modelos.
Sunday fun day, man.
Yeah. All right, anyway.
Family barbecue.
Oh, you've earned it.
Hold it up high.
Yeah.
You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
It's like, hey, let's go tap some beers together, right? And then back to your hip, and then back to talking at the barbecue. So we're just gonna.
It's a very well-ironed shirt for a barbecue.
I agree, and also one of those people should take a sip out of their beer. Not all three of them shouldn't go down to their side. I always do that thing too. You know when you order drinks at a restaurant and then your drink shows up. I'm always like leaning in a drink and someone's looking at me going, we should do and I'm like, oh yeah, all right.
I mean, you don't always cheers or toast.
No, not always.
That happened to me yesterday. My drink came before other people's drink, and I was like, I really want to take a sip of that, but I didn't want to be rude.
No,
it's
not. It was rude. I know, but it never bothers anyone. Anyway,
really?
All right, news. What do you got with the news?
I've got some things that bother me, and I think they're going to bother you too. A
good.
Chicago elementary teacher mocked Charlie Kirk's assassination with a gesture to her throat. We have video of it right here.
Yeah.
At a No Kings protest over the weekend.
Yeah.
Here we go. Look at this lovely lady.
Yeah, she's doing the bang, bang, bang.
The bang to
Finger
the neck.
in the neck. Yeah.
A lot of the young man in the truck was obviously taking video and driving by in a pickup truck with a flag calling Charlie Kirk a hero, and a lot of people were flipping the bird. But that lovely lady right there, who teaches elementary school students in a Chicago suburb at Nathan Hale Elementary School, of course, gestured to put her finger to her neck and pretend to pull a trigger, saying "bang bang." It's unclear if she was fired or faced any disciplinary action. Chicago Public Schools said they, quote, remain committed to creating and maintaining a welcoming, safe, and inclusive teaching and learning environment free from harassment, bias, or harm of any kind.
All right, let me just say this. What school they at?
Nathan Hale Elementary School in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, is that the skipper from Gilligan's Island?
Was that his real life name?
Alan Hale, but who's keeping track? Here's my point. If my kid was in the 4th grade at Nathan Hale in Chicago with their progressive teachers unions, and that kid had a grilled cheese sandwich, and that kid chewed the grilled cheese sandwich so it was in the shape of a handgun and then held it up, he would be suspended.
Oh, yes.
And they would probably call the cops.
Yes.
And they would pull him out of the cafeteria.
They'd assign him a therapist.
And they'd sign him a therapist, and they'd put him in the office, and then I'd get the call at work that I had to come pick him up, and I would say, why? And they'd go, well, he took a grilled cheese, and he bit into it in such a way that it kind of resembled a handgun, and so we're going to have him arrested. But this bitch can do the gun to the jugular all she wants, and they're never going to fire her or discipline her. Does that make sense to you? Does that sound consistent to you? I never thought I would hate teachers more than I did when I was in junior high, but I officially hate them all. COVID put me over the top.
Yeah.
Teachers' unions
are the worst.
Teachers, all the LA Unified, the whole COVID shutdown thing. You're all fucking horrible. I hate teachers now. You're just there to indoctrinate kids now. And the double standard of if you brought nail clippers to that campus, you would be arrested and they would call the cops. But this fat cow can put a finger to her neck and simulate the assassination of a young man who died a month ago. No problemo.
No.
And they'll fight for her future.
It is very cowardly that Chicago Public Schools refused to make comment. They said, please refer to our website. The elementary school's website, by the way, was totally taken down.
Yeah,
because
by the way,
I'm sure they were getting hit up by people all across the country, including upset parents, and rightfully so.
Yes. So these are the people that are teaching your kids. And here's the thing, everybody, if you want to know what's going on. This is their ideology, and they cannot separate it from their work and what they do. And also, your job is to shape the hearts and minds of young people. So if this is your ideology and you're shaping the hearts and minds of young people, then you're going to shape them toward your ideology. To be potential assassins for people that they may or may not politically disagree with? Well, okay. Do not take this in the spirit in which it's intended. Yeah. Women have a difficult time doing a thing where they go, look, this is how I feel. Like I always
separating
use this
the
example.
feelings from the action.
I am a full-fledged vegan. I believe meat is murder. Yes. I don't think animal protein should be consumed. Yes. I think a cow and a pig have every bit the right to live as we do, and we're all God's creatures. But I will sit there and watch you eating a pulled pork sandwich, and I won't say a fucking word. I've never met that woman. I've never met her. They feel
kind of like the guys that do CrossFit.
Yes, they feel
the need to tell you.
They feel the need to put that on you. I've never met that woman. And maybe that's a good quality, because maybe that's why they're good with the mommies. Yes. But it's not good when you're teaching kids to lay your shitty ideology on them, but I know you can't help it.
I want all of the parents at Nathan Hale Elementary to contact the Post and other outlets that are now covering this and share the stories that you know exist of those fourth graders. We don't know what grade she taught specifically. She, of course, has not reached out to comment to the media, but like what so you're telling me she's teaching 8 and 9-year-olds and she's never brought up, like, after the election or the Dobbs decision, politics in the classroom?
Can you imagine sitting in her class with a MAGA hat on?
She'd have you expelled.
Yes.
She would say it was hate speech or something.
Drawn and quartered, right.
She's one of those ladies that's like never had a boyfriend and never been pregnant, but she's upset about women losing their rights.
I don't know. She kind of looked pregnant there. That could have just been a little pannis slopping over the waistband.
I just love how the Chicago Public Schools has said that they do not comment on specific personnel matters.
By the way, I love it when people who don't weigh in go, we don't weigh in. Yeah, I'm sure you weighed in on George Floyd and the need to and equity.
They probably even
they took a day off.
They weighed in on, like, the genocide in Gaza.
Yes, they weigh in on everything except for when they get into trouble, and then they don't weigh in.
But I mean, so now there's this story about this candidate for Senate in Maine that has, like, a straight up Nazi tattoo. Not like the Pete Hegseth. They thought it was a Nazi tattoo, but it's a military tattoo. Mm-hmm. And you have that leaked chat by these idiot, young Republicans that were saying that they loved Hitler and using, like, Nazi code and crap. There was so much media attention about that group chat for a week, solid week. Mm-hmm. You have this candidate in Maine, nothing. You have this teacher in Chicago, nothing. And then you have liberals who will openly post, jokes about Charlie Kirk memorials being a fountain with, like, water coming out his neck.
Right.
Simulating him bleeding to death.
Right.
And But no. Alas, those never get coverage.
Yeah, well, they are super angry and somewhat violent, and I've always known it because I had a hippie mom and all the flower power and peace and love and all that.
Was bullshit?
It's all veneer. There's rage just beneath the surface. And they do tons of projection. Like they accuse you of being cruel and angry. Narcissism. Yes. It's all just projection. You know, like he's evil, he's cruel, he's racist. Like, okay, all right, you're the one who's super angry all the time. And if you agitate them, it just comes out. They can't help it. It's basically, you could poke at certain people for a while, but if you poke at Mike Tyson, you'll get punched. And it's just kind of who he is. You know what I mean? And that's who they are. They cannot stop. And it's also, there's an impulse problem they have. Like they can't prevent themselves. Like that woman gets triggered and immediately goes right into the Charlie Kirk dance, you know.
Gross.
But anyway, I don't, you know, it's kind of a fine line because you go, free speech, and this was off school grounds and not during school hours.
She can protest at all she wants, but when you take an action, like when I saw that, I was like, oh, if that girl's on a green card, I hope Marco Rubio deports her. Because it's like any action, I am fine with, like, you know, start with that. Start culling all of the illegal immigrants or even legal immigrants that are here that are wishing death on Americans. You don't belong.
Right.
Clearly, if she's born here, she has different rights. She has a right to free speech. But that is like, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. Is that an incitement of violence? Like you're not allowed to...
I would say that if you work with kids, there's a different standard than if you work at the Ford factory assembling F-150s. And I would be amenable to that, just like I would say airline pilots have a different standard when it comes to sobriety than construction workers.
Or a brain surgeon.
Yes. So I would go, I'm okay with slightly different standards.
Yep.
And a construction worker can tie one on Super Bowl Sunday and show up, you know, Monday morning and swing a hammer. No one really cares. But I don't think we'd want our airline pilots doing that.
No.
So I think we're allowed to make distinctions. And what I would say is...
I don't want that teaching my second grader.
Thank you. All right, next story.
Next story is people freaking out. It was men and women, though, and this was in CBS Mornings co-host's Instagram page, Gayle King. So Gayle King and our buddy over at Fox News, Jesse Waters, were on a 4-hour cross-country flight together. And she posted a photo with the caption that these friends from TV from competing networks, she said, speaking for Jesse Waters here, a good time was had by all. Hi, Jesse, saving your number. People were very upset in the comments. They said she was trying to suck up to Barry Weiss, who, of course, is the new editor-in-chief of CBS News over there.
Yeah.
Some people said, Gayle, this is not it.
By the way, one of Mike August's greatest things is, this is mostly for you, Dawson, but he'll go, I did a thing with Barry Weiss a few months ago in Austin, but he'll go, Barry Weiss says we should be at the theater by 7. I'll go, I think she goes by Barry. Barry, who cares? I go, well, she cares, Mike. Yeah, well, she spells it B-A-R-I. I go, Mike, it's Barry. I don't know why. It's just Barry. I know
That's
you.
what her mom calls her.
I know
That's
who cares, but I don't know who cares. I don't know. Why do we have names?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember he was really excited about booking the band Dokken. Remember Dokken was going to be on.
I love Dokken.
My name is ELISHA, not Alicia, Mike. Just throwing that out there.
And, oh, God. Oh, I had that. Sorry, I'll think. I think it was Matt Welsh versus Matt Walsh. But every time I go, Mike, that's not the guy's name. He goes, oh, whatever. So, all right, well, whatever's fine, except for when you talk to the person, you call them the wrong, there's potential here. Let's just change it.
So other commentators, of
Barry
course,
wanted what?
So some people were saying that Gayle is just trying to suck up to Barry. Some people, of course, stoop to the Nazi. Nazi Jesse, all he does is lie. Oprah's tone-deaf bestie is not reading the room.
I always like tone-deaf.
The tone-deaf, like whose tone? Like you think your tone is in tune with the rest of the country?
They're on a United flight sitting in first class. What tone are we talking about? Gayle, listen, Jesse's a nice guy. Most folks are nice, and when they come together, it's almost like most fighters, getting back to the Mike Tyson thing, most fighters are pretty chummy out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job, and their job is to annihilate you in the ring, but outside the ring, they understand.
This
you know,
is
that's how it
something
works.
I saw like in a previous life. You know, when I worked for Hannity, he and Al Sharpton would do debates. He and Chris Matthews would go after each other on TV back when Chris Matthews had an MSNBC show.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'd see them in the halls at the DNC, the RNC, at LaGuardia, and everybody's nice to each other.
Yeah.
And they should be nice. I think that sometimes right and left get this wrong, where it's like, yeah, why? And I don't think that Jesse's fans are going to be like, why are you taking a picture with her? But some hardcore righties might.
The left is less tolerant, and the left is
decency?
less tolerant. Well, they should be less tolerant, because if, let's say, Don Jr. is taking a picture with Bill Maher, or Don Jr. is taking a picture with George Clooney, or whomever on that side of the aisle, Jimmy Kimmel. Okay. So according to the people that watch, Don Jr. is taking a picture with someone he disagrees with, but Jimmy Kimmel's taking a picture with Hitler, which is a greater offense. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, like when Gutfeld was on with Kimmel. I remember being like, "Oh, this is nice. They're competitors."
Oh wait, he was on,
or was he on with Kimmel?
Fallon.
No, sorry, Fallon.
I think it was Fallon. But
Sorry.
the point
Both
is,
Jimmys.
point is this: if no one should be posing for pictures with Hitler,
yes,
you can pose if you play for the Dodgers and you play for Toronto. We can take a picture together. We're on separate teams. But if you play for the Toronto Hitlers, then I really shouldn't be taking a picture with you. And so more protesting comes from the left, because they're the ones who call the other person Hitler.
And if you're Mamdani and you actually pose with a terrorist sympathizer, then you might be mayor of New York City.
That's right. That's how the game works.
So remember when, along those lines, remember when Biden went to some firehouse or something in Pennsylvania, and the guy was like, will you wear this hat? And it was like a MAGA hat, and he threw it on and he smiled and he patted the guy on the back, and very
but that's like that's like when you put a party hat on your dog and your dog doesn't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? Come on, Rusty, this is funny. Come on. And the dog's walking sideways a little bit and doesn't really get what's happening.
But I think
you're in human years, you're 40 today, Rusty. I made a cake out of gizzards. And the dog's I don't know. It's scraping against stuff, trying to get up. It wasn't like Joe Biden was endorsing anybody. He didn't know what was going on.
Well, I think that he was cogent in that moment and did know what was going on. And it just goes to show how when he called Trump a fascist and dangerous to democracy and all that stuff, to me, it shows that he doesn't believe it.
Oh, he doesn't believe it at all.
Karine Jean-Pierre still believes, though, that he was totally fine to run for president. We have some video of that.
I like this. Homes.com. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Some. That'd be me. I love that site. And it might be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory. Or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's Homes.com. The fact that Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home and find it fast. Homes.com. That is Homes.com. We've done your homework.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections from Paranormal Activity, The Ring,
You will die in 7 days.
Scream, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
This is my kind of place.
And don't miss the man-made nightmares in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or the world-ending chaos in 28 Days Later.
There's something in the blood.
All the scares, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
I saw a guy who I had not seen backstage at the benefit that I did. It seemed like a dramatically different person. And at 81 years old, that's not entirely unexpected. You can imagine why people got so worried.
So, a couple of things. I got to see Joe Biden almost every day. And this is a question that I take very seriously. No one has ever said he hasn't aged. No one ever said that. He would make jokes about it, he would acknowledge it, and he would say, yes, I know I don't speak this as well as I used to, I don't walk as well as I used to. No one is saying that he didn't age. I'm talking about, did he have the question that I was getting, the mental acuity? Was he able to govern? And the man that I saw nearly every day was someone who was engaging, understood policy, and was always putting the American...
The lone clapper.
I know that's not a lone clap. I'll tell you how that works. This is a job I want. I want to do this job.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy. Everyone, whenever you watch Time Out with Bill Maher, there's one guy out there. And George Clooney will go, last time I checked, I thought we're living in a democracy. And you'll hear... And then everyone jumps in.
Everyone's supposed to follow
Everyone
him.
jumps in. Like there's one guy who's always premature clapper guy, but he works there. And he's the audience warm-up guy, whatever. And you'll hear him just clap. He'll get like 2 claps in, and then that signals to everyone like, oh, he just said something that had a lot of gravitas behind it, but probably doesn't mean anything. But that's when you jump in. You know, at some point they go, I'm sorry. To me, they're not Republican children. They're not Democratic children. They're just hungry children, and they need to be fed. And then everyone jumps in, right?
But nobody jumped in.
This guy, right, so play it again. He's like, I got a good. So they stand him there and they go, you're in charge of clappable moments. When you hear like a good,
he was able to govern.
When you hear a good clappable moment, like when someone says something or punctuates something or whatever, and like they have to say something like, you say what you want about Joe Biden, but he's still a man. And when you hear something like that, that's when it doesn't have to make sense, and it could be a lie, and it probably is bullshit, but you clap. You the start, everyone. You're the clapping kindling. You kindle the clapping fire.
And he gets paid for that.
Yeah, like watch, we'll play it. We'll go.
Did he have the question that I was getting, the mental acuity? Was he able to govern? And the man that I saw nearly every day was someone who was engaging, understood policy, and was always putting the American people...
All right, hold on. I wonder if they pull that guy aside, like into the office, and like, Rob, you've had 4 premature claps in this many shows. You've lost your fastball.
No, probably not, because they're all lefties, too. So they wanted the audience to clap, but the audience is just sitting there in awe
but
of
as
her
the
lying.
clapper starter, you got to know, like, if you don't get that audience to go with you,
they're not going to go with you
distracting.
the next time. Too.
That's right.
Like,
we've lost confidence
right.
in you. And they probably show up like the pitcher taking the guy off the mound.
Yeah.
It's like, put the windbreaker on. We're going back to the dugout. And it's like, I got more clap in me, coach. Yeah, okay.
We're gonna bring in the closer.
Yeah, we're going to bring in the closer clapper. The clapper closer. Yeah. I want to see the clip of her, Andrew, that I gave you earlier today where she does the as a black woman, which is I love when she makes the rounds and does as a black woman and as a black lesbian. That's my favorite part. Especially the thing that's comical is the only reason you have this job is because you're a black lesbian, and then they act like all the hurdles they had to overcome.
Isn't the comms director? I mean, it's not as important as the secretary, like all of the cabinet meetings he was missing, and how we now know that he would just send staffers into those, or the staffers would just go without him. But I would think that comms is pretty important because you're doing that press briefing every single day. My understanding from Dana Perino, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Caroline Leavitt, etc., was that you have meetings or you have a rundown with the president every single day about issues because she's the person in the hot seat having to address the press every day.
Mm-hmm.
And she just said there, she's like, I saw him almost every day.
Yeah.
Why didn't you talk to him every day?
Listen. I like to play the game stupid or liar. She could be kind of
Both.
simultaneously, like she could be a Reese's peanut butter cup of stupid and liar, like part stupid and part liar.
That makes
She's
sense.
definitely dumb,
Yeah.
and she lies.
Yeah.
But this clip is great.
But what's happening with the leadership, more of the leadership Democratic Party side of things, they're actually throwing people under the bus who are
All right,
vulnerable.
pause. I didn't know they were actually throwing vulnerable people under the bus.
I feel like that'd make some headlines.
If they physically threw vulnerable
There's some
people,
people
they're
under-
actually throwing people. It's actually funny because she can't speak clearly, which is one of the prerequisites of her job. But all right, we'll keep playing
Democratic
it.
Party side of things, they're actually throwing people under the bus who are vulnerable and need protection. As a black woman,
Oh, you pause there, Helen. I love the body language. I love when they lean back
Like
and they go,
gesturing
as
to
a black, oh my
themselves.
God, you're a black woman? I didn't know that. I've never met a black woman. Man, Esther Roll from Good Times is the only black woman I've ever heard of, and historically, but okay. As a black woman, okay. As a black woman, she's going to explain that the Democratic Party is throwing black women under the bus. Also, there's a fundamental problem. They're not supposed to do shit for you. They're just supposed to do shit for the country, and then
Everybody.
you could benefit.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset of what are you doing for us as a black woman is very flawed, but we'll hear her out.
actually throwing people under the bus who are vulnerable and need protection. As a black woman who has walked through the walls of the White House and
All right,
been
pause. She means walk through the halls. She's not Kool-Aid.
She's a ghost.
She didn't, what? The thing that's funny about her, she can't speak in this. You know she's a DEI hire. She's having trouble putting the sentence together. As a black woman who's walked through the walls and through the subflooring
Listen,
and through the attic and ceiling and roofing and fireplace flue.
I'm empathetic as a often tired gal who can stumble on words and talks with my hands a lot. But her hand motions are very distracting.
How about the hallowed walls? How about walls, the mentholatum lozenge? How about the game show host, Monty Walls? Okay, going too deep. All right, Dawson got
bus
that one.
who are vulnerable and need protection. As a black woman who has walked through the walls of the White House and been part of this party for a very long time, I believe, and this is my personal opinion, that we get forgotten and that by a large part the Democratic Party does not see us.
All right,
And
pardon me. I feel like all they do is kiss black ass on the Democratic Party, and if they're black and you're a woman, that's all you got for the Democratic Party. So I don't see the forgotten
don't
and
forget the
invisible
lesbian.
part. Oh,
I
the
mean,
lesbian.
As a black
Oh.
lesbian woman, she's ticking all the boxes. The only thing she could be doing better is maybe be a white man who claims to be a black woman.
Yeah,
And then
but
the
we're not
left
even
would
there
go
yet.
crazy.
All right, so the leftists turn their back on black women.
Specifically, Karine Jean-Pierre, who
And they're
has a book deal and is on a tour right now and gets to go on late night TV.
What does it mean to turn your back on black women? Like, what were you supposed to do?
And are they
or-
throwing them under the bus or are they turning their backs on them?
Oh, that's a good point. I think there's kind of turning their back and then throwing them over their
backwards.
shoulder under the bus. And that's what's happening in 2025 from this person who I like long hair on a woman. And I rarely say this, but she should have kept her hair up.
I literally said to some of the guys earlier, I was like, typically her attire and her makeup and hair are flawless across the board. Like, I don't like her, agree with her politically, but like, I'm like, good on the outfits, girl. This is not a good look. It's like a cute dress, but not for television. It's messing with the camera. I don't like the eye makeup on her. I don't like the longer hair, and I don't like the highlights. She needs to go back to like
orange is not a good highlight.
she needs to go back. She looks really great in bright colors. She's a stunning woman. Like,
She
she's
looked
very
great with her hair
pretty.
short, but
she
you
looks
know
so
what?
good with her hair short.
I had a thought. You may disagree. I've never thought of this before.
Okay.
Guys don't like short hair.
My husband says this all the time.
He's a genius, this guy. Although for a guy, Who doesn't like short hair? He sure cuts a lot of hair.
He cuts my son's hair. He doesn't cut my daughter's hair.
Okay.
Okay.
But he claims. Anyway. So guys don't like short hair on a woman. But there is an element of the short hair where we go, man, she's cute with short hair.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the potential. Imagine if she grew that hair out where
like
we'd
how
be.
much hotter she'd be.
Right.
So like if she's an 8 with a bob.
Right.
Then you're like, damn, she gets that collarbone length and she's a 10.
Right. So I can't tell if I like KJP's short hair or I was dreaming about the potential of the long hair. But now I've taken a glimpse into the future and I've seen the long hair and I don't like it. And now I'm ruined on her.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
I could get her.
You're not her type for two big reasons.
Yeah, well, I got one bigger one, baby, that all women recognize.
So that, and also, I don't know that she'd date a guy that's a little right-leaning or logical-leaning on top of the fact that she prefers the ladies. And I think she's married.
The long hair with the orange highlight is not good, and I've also given up on the potential of her. I've realized when she had that short hair, there was something there.
Yeah. Despite the fact that she fumbled her words and covered up for a dementia-riddled president.
First off,
You're holding out hope.
This isn't her fault, just like it's none of the dingbat DEI hires' faults from the Biden administration. He just took these idiots and shoved them into places they weren't supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't do the job because they weren't qualified to do the job.
Like Justice Jackson.
Yeah, so there's nothing, how else would you go, she's on the Supreme Court and she's a dingbat. Yeah, she was a DEI hire.
Yeah, she
and
did.
Sotomayor was too. And of course, they're the only two dingbats on the Supreme Court, but fine.
Sotomayor at least worked at Harvard.
Yeah, but she
so
may
bad.
be dumber than
Ketanji Brown Jackson?
She's the one who was complaining about kids being on ventilators or something when she was trying to get everyone vaccinated, forced to be vaccinated. KJP not married, so the window's still open.
Okay, so she's just a lesbian that Adam thinks that he can win over.
And, well, I call turning her out, but yeah, win over, if that's your vernacular. Fine. I call turning him out. I'll turn her out. There's the clip of her on a Friendly podcast, Andrew, where she was talking over. There is a thing. Now, again, I don't want to take a turn for the feminine or the black, but there is a thing that women do, but especially black women do, is when they start hearing something they don't want to hear, they'll just talk. They'll go, uh-oh.
Ooh.
I mean, it's like, I'll tell you what, let's do some role playing, Dawson. You go.
Dawson's the girl? Or you're the girl?
I'm going to do it because I feel like you're going to fuck it up. But you can try. Let's have you try.
I'm just going to sit back and observe.
You try.
Two cis.
Dawson may fuck it
men.
up too. But Dawson, here's what I'll tell you. Here's your job in this acting experiment. You're going to say, well, I got news for you. And then I'll go, lay it on me. And then you go, I heard you were cheating on your wife. And then just keep talking about how you heard it. And then I'll tell you what black chicks do, right?
I got news for you, pal.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
I heard you were cheating on your wife.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Phil
a lot
told
of people
me
say
he wouldn't
a
shut
lot
up
of
about it. He
things.
was
A
doing
lot
his
of people
lawn.
say a lot of
He
things.
said-
A lot of people say a lot of things. A lot of people say a lot of things. Like they go, that's how you know it happened. Because if it didn't happen, you go, yeah, all right. Tell me, where was I? Because I was out of town last week. But go ahead. Right. But they'll do the, heard something that's true. Gonna go right over the top. This is her. She's a communications person, a press person. She's being interviewed. So listen what happens during this interview.
We did have legislative wins.
Sure,
and
but he
that
didn't
is
talk about him that well, though. He couldn't talk about them. He wasn't campaigning.
No. Wait. First of all, he did talk about them. Whether it broke through or not, he did. Tim, he did talk about.
I mean, he talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like, he didn't do night events.
That's not true.
Okay, she
Tim,
said, but Tim, pardon me. She said, but Tim 9 times.
I think it was 9 or 10 times. That reminds me of my
Right, so he just goes, he talked to the press way less than Donald Trump does.
Fact check true.
Which is the most accurate statement since the sky is blue and the earth is round. I mean, he just said it, and
But Tim.
Like, okay, just go. Let him say what he has to say, and then go, well, you know what, Tim? I'll tell you this. In Biden's first year of office, he did 141 press conferences, and Trump's only done 89. So how do you like that?
Or he had this many legislative wins compared to President Trump's yada yada.
But Tim, yeah, just go back 30 seconds and just listen. First off, it's bad communication.
It reminds me of my 6-year-old when she's trying to blame something on my 8-year-old.
It's also these people, these poor people, because they're like, wait a minute.
This guy's a liberal, and he's shaking his head.
My whole thing, it's the funniest thing, because I go, I thought our agreement was I go on your super liberal show and you don't ask any questions. What happened to the agreement we had? Which is popping up more and more now. But here it is, but Tim.
Talk about them. Whether it broke through or not, he did. Tim, he did talk about.
I mean, he talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like, he didn't do night events.
Tim, that's not true. Tim, you're conflating all of it.
I think she said it 8 times.
All right.
I counted 8
It's
Tims.
not true. What isn't true? Donald Trump is doing a press conference somewhere right now, and he's on the toilet. He's physically sitting on a toilet, making a number 2, and there's 3 reporters in the bathroom with him because he couldn't take a break from talking to reporters.
Well, he's also on Truth Social.
Right. And Biden would call a wrap at 3 p.m. and then do a thing where they go, hey, they told me not to talk about stuff. I mean, but Tim. All right, ELISHA KRAUSS.
Yes, sir.
Let me give you a plug.
Oh, thanks. I think you're going to like my op-ed this week.
Oh, yeah? The Washington Examiner? What's it on?
About how women should be eating peanuts and medical community is full of shit.
Oh my God. Oh, my God. My book from 15 years ago, I was screaming about give them peanuts.
Yeah.
Give them peanuts.
And a pregnant gal can have some sushi and a glass of wine every once in a while, too.
God. I'm reading that. All right, I'm going to be at Flappers in Burbank on the 29th, then Boston at the Wilbur Theater. That'll be November 6th, and then the 7th, and Buffalo, New York at Electric City. And go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live dates. And Kevin Federline, You Thought You Knew, is the name of the book's available as we speak. And Fitzdog's got live shows everywhere at GregFitzsimmons.com. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Greg Fitzsimmons and Kevin Federline, ELISHA KRAUSS saying, Mahala.